Listen to me because I need you to hear this. You worry too much. You stare at closed doors, at missed opportunities, at things that didn't go your way, and you let them crush you. You wonder if you've been forgotten. You wonder if you're on the right path. You wonder if God is even listening. But let me tell you something. He is not absent. He is not silent. He is not indifferent to you. The problem is not that he isn't speaking, but that you are not trusting. The problem is not that he isn't opening doors, but that you are banging on the wrong ones. You cry out, why isn't this working? Why is nothing happening? And all the while, God is preparing a door you cannot see, one that no man can shut. Look at your life. Look at the disappointments. Look at the things you thought would fulfill you but didn't. Look at the plans you made that fell apart. Do you not see? It is mercy. Mercy that some doors stayed closed. Mercy that God did not give you what you wanted but is preparing what you need. Mercy that he loves you too much to let you settle for less than his perfect will. But the problem with most of us is that we don't want to wait. We rush ahead, forcing doors open with our own strength, thinking we know best. But God is not obligated to bless what he did not ordain. You can try to make things happen on your own, but if it is not of God, it will fail. And even if it prospers for a time, it will never satisfy your soul. So stop panicking. Stop striving, stop fearing that you have missed your chance. If you are his, you are never forgotten. If you are his, no door that is meant for you will ever be locked. If you are his, you do not have to be afraid of the future because the one who holds the future has already gone before you. So trust him, walk in obedience, seek his face, not just his hand. And when the time is right in his perfect way, he will open the right door. And when he does, you will see that every delay, every disappointment, every unanswered prayer was leading you to something far greater than you ever imagined. You feel like you've been forgotten, you pray, and it seems like nothing happens. You knock and every door stays shut. You wonder if God sees you, if he hears you, if he even cares. And in that silence, in that waiting, doubt creeps in. Maybe you're not important to him. Maybe your prayers are too small, too insignificant. Maybe you've messed up too much and now he's just moved on. But that is a lie. That is the enemy whispering in your ear, trying to turn your heart away from the truth. And the truth is this: God is not absent. He is not ignoring you. He is not distant. He is as present as he has always been, working in ways you cannot see, moving in ways you do not understand. His silence does not mean he is not listening. His delay does not mean he is not acting. His ways are higher, his thoughts are greater, and his timing is always perfect. The problem is not God's absence, the problem is our impatience. We live in a world that moves fast. We expect instant answers, immediate results, but God is not bound by our timelines. He does not rush his work. He does not panic when things do not go the way we think they should. He is not like us, he is sovereign. He sees the whole picture, the full story, the end from the beginning. And what looks like a delay to you is simply God moving at the pace of his perfect will. Look at scripture. Look at Joseph, betrayed by his brothers, thrown into prison, left to rot in a place he never should have been. Years passed, no explanation, no sign of rescue, just waiting. But in the waiting, God was working. In the silence, God was preparing. And when the time was right, in a single moment, everything changed. The door opened and the prison became a throne room. What seemed like abandonment was actually preparation. What seemed like silence was actually divine orchestration. Look at Moses, tending sheep in the wilderness for 40 years. Look at David, anointed as king but running from Saul for over a decade. Look at Paul, shipwrecked, beaten, thrown in prison, all while following the will of God. Not once were they abandoned. Not once were they forgotten. Every trial, every delay, every hardship was leading them into the exact place they needed to be. And if you are his, it is the same for you. He is not absent in your life. He is not unaware of your struggles. He knows every tear you cry. He knows every prayer you whisper in the dark when no one else is listening. He knows the burdens you carry, the questions you ask, the fears that weigh you down. And he is near, closer than your breath, closer than you can comprehend. But he will not be rushed. He will not be manipulated. He is not on your schedule, you are on his. And though it may feel like nothing is happening, though it may feel like you have been left to wander in the wilderness, he is leading you, guiding you, shaping you for what is to come. Because he loves you too much to give you something before you are ready. He loves you too much to open a door that will destroy you instead of bless you. So you must trust, even when it doesn't make sense, even when it feels unfair, even when you cannot see what he is doing. Because faith is not about seeing, it is about believing in the one who is always faithful. And he has never failed, not once, not in all of history. And he will not start with you. You prayed for it. You believed for it. You thought it was the right thing, the right opportunity, the right path. But the door stayed shut. You knocked and nothing happened. You tried again, and it still didn't open. And now you sit there wondering why, wondering if God has forgotten you, wondering if you did something wrong, wondering if you missed your chance. But listen to me, what if that closed door was not rejection, but protection? What if that thing you wanted so badly would have led you into destruction? What if that relationship you cried over was never meant to be? What if that job you were desperate for would have taken you away from the very thing God was preparing for you? You see, we think we know what's best. We see an opportunity, and we assume it's good because it looks good. We assume it's right because it feels right. But God sees beyond what we see. He sees the hidden dangers. He sees the traps the enemy has laid. He sees the long-term effects of what you are asking for. And in His mercy, He closes the door. Think about it. How many times in your life have you looked back and thanked God for not answering a certain prayer? How many times have you realized after the fact that what you thought was a loss was actually a blessing? We don't always see it in the moment. We don't always understand why the door stays shut. But God is not obligated to explain Himself. He does not need our permission to protect us. He does not owe us an explanation when He withholds something that is not for us. He is God. He is sovereign. And He is always working for our good, even when it doesn't feel like it. Look at Scripture. Look at the Israelites when they wanted to go back to Egypt. They were crying out for freedom for years. But the moment things got hard in the wilderness, they wanted to return to their chains. God had a promised land for them, but they were willing to settle for slavery just because they didn't understand the process. How often do we do the same? How often do we fight for things that God is trying to remove? How often do we chase after doors He has already closed? Look at Paul. He wanted to go preach in Asia, but the Spirit of God stopped him. That seems strange, doesn't it? Preaching the gospel is good. Spreading the word is necessary. But God knew there was another door, a better door, one that would lead to greater impact. And because Paul obeyed, because he didn't force his way through a closed door, the gospel reached places it never would have otherwise. What seemed like a no was actually a not. Here, there is something greater. And yet we get frustrated. We grow bitter. We start to doubt His goodness. We think that just because something doesn't happen on our timeline, it must mean God isn't listening. But what if the delay is part of the process? What if the waiting is not punishment but preparation? What if the very thing you are begging for is the thing that would keep you from the greater blessing He has in store? So instead of complaining about what didn't happen, instead of dwelling on the doors that wouldn't open, start thanking Him. Thank Him for the relationships that ended before they could lead you down the wrong path. Thank Him for the jobs you didn't get, for the opportunities that passed you by, for the plans that fell apart. Because if they were meant for you, nothing could have stopped them. And if they weren't, nothing could have forced them. God's mercy is not always in what He gives, but often in what He withholds. And one day when the right door opens, when His plan unfolds, you will look back and see that every no was leading you to His best yes. You want it now. You want the answer, the breakthrough, the opportunity. You have prayed, you have waited, you have knocked on doors and still nothing. And in the silence, frustration builds, doubt creeps in. Maybe you missed your chance. Maybe you're not praying hard enough. Maybe God has forgotten you. But hear me, God is never late, and He is never early. His timing is perfect, even when it doesn't match yours. You see, we measure time in minutes, days, and years, but God moves according to His eternal purpose. He is not rushed. He is not pressured. He is not swayed by our impatience. He knows when you are ready. He knows when the circumstances are aligned. And if the door has not yet opened, there is a reason. Look at Abraham. God promised him a son, but years passed, and nothing happened. He and Sarah grew old, and still the promise seemed impossible, so they tried to force it. They took matters into their own hands, and Ishmael was born, a decision that brought nothing but strife and hardship. But God had not forgotten His promise. At the right time, in His perfect will, Isaac was born, the child of the covenant. If only they had waited. If only they had trusted. How much pain could have been avoided if they had simply believed that God's timing is always best? Look at Joseph, given a dream as a young man, a vision of leadership, of influence. But what happened next? Betrayal, slavery, false accusations, prison. Year after year, it seemed as though his dream had died. But in one moment, God lifted him from the prison to the palace, fulfilling everything He had promised. What if Joseph had given up? What if he had stopped trusting in God's timing? What if he had tried to make things happen on his own? He would have ruined what God was preparing. And that is what many of us do. We grow tired of waiting, so we force open doors. We chase after things we are not ready for. We settle for less because we don't believe God will give us more. And then, when it falls apart, we blame Him. But God is not obligated to bless what He did not ordain. He is not responsible for the consequences of our impatience. If you could see what He sees, you would not be in a hurry. If you knew what He was preparing, you would not question the delays. The waiting is not punishment, it is protection. The waiting is not denial, it is preparation. He is working in you, shaping your heart, building your character, refining you so that when the door does open, you will be ready to walk through it. What good is a blessing if you are not prepared to carry it? What good is a position if you do not have the maturity to handle it? Look at David, anointed as king while still a shepherd boy. But did he take the throne immediately? No, he spent years running, hiding, waiting. He could have killed Saul and taken the kingdom by force, but he didn't. He trusted God's timing. He refused to open a door that God had not yet unlocked. And because of that, when he did step into his destiny, he was ready. You must believe the same. God is not withholding anything from you out of cruelty. He is not making you wait because He enjoys watching you struggle. He is waiting for the perfect moment, for the right conditions, for the time when His plan will unfold in a way that brings Him glory and brings you the fullness of His blessing. If you rush ahead, you will miss it. If you settle, you will regret it. But if you wait, if you trust, if you refuse to move until He says go, you will walk into something greater than you ever imagined. So stop worrying about when it will happen. Stop trying to force what only God can give. Stop looking at everyone else's timeline and wondering why yours looks different. Your story is not theirs, your journey is not theirs, and the God who holds time in His hands is holding you in the center of His will. And when the moment comes, nothing will be able to stop what He has planned. You don't like waiting. No one does. It feels like wasted time, like nothing is happening, like life is moving forward for everyone except you. You watch others get what you've been praying for, you see doors open for them while yours remain shut, and it makes you wonder if you're doing something wrong. If God is holding out on you, if you've been forgotten, but that's not the truth. The truth is that waiting is not punishment. Waiting is not God ignoring you. Waiting is not a sign that you've missed your chance. Waiting is an act of faith. It is a test of trust. It is a process that shapes you, refines you, and prepares you for what is coming. Because God will never give you something before you are ready to receive it. He will not open a door for you if walking through it will destroy you. Look at Noah. God told him to build an ark, and for years, he worked and waited while the world mocked him. He had never seen rain. He had no proof that the flood would come. But he obeyed, and when the time was right, the rain fell. Look at Moses, who spent 40 years in the wilderness before he was called to lead Israel. 40 years of waiting, of wondering, of preparing. Look at Jesus, the Son of God, who did not begin his public ministry until he was 30 years old. The Savior of the world, waiting in obscurity because the time was not yet right. And yet we think that waiting is wasted time. We think that if something doesn't happen immediately, it means God is not moving. But faith is believing that He is working even when you cannot see it. Faith is trusting that even in the silence, even in the stillness, even in the delay, He is preparing something greater than you could ever imagine. You see, there is something dangerous about rushing ahead. There is something destructive about refusing to wait on God's timing. Abraham and Sarah tried to force the promise, and it brought them nothing but pain. Saul refused to wait for Samuel and took matters into his own hands, and it cost him his kingdom. How many people have stepped into relationships they weren't meant to be in because they were tired of waiting? How many have settled for careers that were not their calling because they lost faith in God's provision? How many have compromised their values, their integrity, their future, all because they did not trust that God's best was worth waiting for? But waiting is not passive. It is not sitting around doing nothing. It is an active trust, a daily surrender, a continual seeking of His will. It is about preparing yourself so that when the door does open, you are ready to walk through it. Because if you are not faithful in the waiting, you will not be faithful in the blessing. If you do not learn to trust Him in the silence, you will not trust Him when the noise of success and opportunity come. If you cannot serve Him when no one sees you, you will not serve Him when the world is watching. Look at Joseph. He was faithful in the pit, faithful in the prison, faithful in the waiting. And because of that, when the time came, he was ready to be faithful in the palace. David worshipped in the fields, long before he wore a crown. Ruth was faithful in the fields, long before she met Boaz. The disciples followed Jesus in obscurity before they carried His message to the world. Because waiting is not about delay, it is about preparation. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not missing your moment. If you are walking with God, then every step, even the ones that feel like standing still, are leading you exactly where you need to be. And when the time is right, when He has finished preparing you, when all things are aligned, He will move. And nothing, no person, no circumstance, no enemy will be able to stop what He has set in motion. The waiting has been long. The prayers have felt unanswered. The doors have stayed shut, and you've wondered if they will ever open. But hear this: when God opens the right door, nothing can keep it closed. No man, no circumstance, no enemy, no delay can stop what He has ordained. What He sets in motion, nothing can stand against. You see, the problem is not that God is not working. The problem is that you are looking at the wrong doors. You stand in front of a closed one, banging on it, demanding that it open, not realizing that God has already shut it for a reason. You wonder why the opportunity didn't come, why the relationship didn't work out, why the plan fell apart. But what if the rejection was His protection? What if the delay was His mercy? What if the closed door was never meant to be opened because He had something better in store? Look at the Israelites. God had a land flowing with milk and honey prepared for them, yet they longed to go back to Egypt. They wanted what was familiar, even if it was bondage. They stood on the edge of the promised land and let fear keep them out. But the door was there. It was open. The only thing that kept them from walking through it was their own unbelief. How often do we do the same? How often do we stay stuck in situations we were never meant to be in because we are afraid to trust the door that God is opening? Look at Peter in prison. The guards were around him, the chains were on him, but when the angel of the Lord came, the chains fell off, the doors opened, and Peter walked out. No amount of human power could keep him locked in a place where God had already made a way of escape. And when the right door opens for you, it will be the same. No opposition will be strong enough to hold you back. No circumstance will be great enough to hinder you. No delay will be long enough to keep you from stepping into what God has planned. But here is the truth many people miss. When the right door opens, you must be ready to walk through it. God will not drag you through. He will not force you to step forward. He will open it. But you must have the faith to move. Some people pray for doors to open, but when they do, they let fear keep them from stepping into the blessing. They hesitate. They second guess. They look at their own strength instead of God's power. And because of that, they miss what was meant for them. Look at Esther. She had a door opened before her to stand before the king and save her people. But it required courage. It required faith. It required stepping into the unknown, trusting that if God had placed her there, He would sustain her. And He did. The same is true for you. The door will open, but it may not look the way you expect. It may not come in the way you planned. But if God has set it before you, you can step through with confidence, knowing that He has gone before you. The enemy wants to keep you stuck in fear, doubt, and hesitation. He wants you to believe that the door is too heavy, that the opposition is too great, that the opportunity is too impossible. But nothing is impossible for God. If He has opened the door, it is yours to walk through. If He has set the path before you, nothing can block it. So when the time comes, move. Do not let fear hold you back. Do not let past disappointments make you doubt His faithfulness. Do not let closed doors of the past keep you from seeing the one that is open before you now. Because when God opens the right door, nothing, absolutely nothing, can stand in your way. So now you stand at the threshold. You have waited, you have prayed, you have endured the silence, the closed doors, the uncertainty. But hear this: God has not forgotten you. He has not abandoned you. He has not ignored your prayers. He is working in ways you cannot see, aligning things beyond your understanding, preparing you for what He has already ordained. When the right door opens, you will know it. There will be no striving, no forcing, no questioning. What He has for you will not require manipulation or compromise. It will not come at the cost of your peace or your faith. And when it opens, nothing will be able to close it. No man, no opposition, no delay will be able to stop what He has set in motion. So do not grow weary. Do not let impatience lead you where you were never meant to go. Do not chase after what He has already shut, and do not fear what lies ahead. If you trust Him, if you wait on Him, if you hold firm to His promises, you will see His hand move in ways that will leave you in awe. And when that day comes, when you walk through the door He has opened, you will look back and see every closed door, every delay, every unanswered prayer was leading you to something far greater than you could have imagined. His way is perfect. His timing is flawless. and His plan for you is greater than anything you could ever create for yourself. So stand firm, trust Him, the right door will open, and when it does, walk through it in faith, knowing that He who called you is faithful, and He will do it.